Hey everyone, I'm Sargos and I'm gonna help you answer the question, what is Dune Spice Wars? Dune Spice Wars is an 4X real-time game set in the world of Dune on the planet Arrakis. 4X is short for Explore, Expand, Exploit and Exterminate, meaning you will build your empire in a way where you need to explore new lands, expand your territory, exploit strategic and luxury resources, and exterminate anybody you need to. 4X games are usually pretty deep and have very expansive mechanics, meaning many windows, tabs, menus and reports which you'll use to shape your empire as you see fit. Their scale is greater than your regular strategy games like StarCraft or Red Alert, where you need to focus on economy buildings, research, usually population happiness, diplomacy, military upgrades, as well as military conquest and exploring various curiosities scattered on the map. With the complexity and scale of 4X games, usually comes the time requirement, as there are many aspects to consider. Most matches take a long time to finish. It usually measures in hours, not minutes. Some matches can be played literally for days. There are two types of 4X games: turn-based, like in chess or in a board game, where each player needs to confirm that they finished all their action by pressing enter. In real time, where time flows freely, usually at a slow pace. Dune Spice Wars chose the real-time route, with the option to increase game speed and even pause it. The game was announced at the Game Awards back in 2021. It was developed by Shiro Games, the creators of Northgard, which was the starting point for the creation of Dune Spice Wars. It was released on Steam on 14 September 2023 to positive reviews, and it's priced at €34.99. The gameplay seems like an evolution of everything the developers learned from the creation of Northgard. Both games are so similar that one can say that this is Shiro Games style, meaning if you play Northgard, you'll probably know how to play Dune, and vice versa. At March 7th, 2024, Shiro Games revealed a new faction as paid DLC, the House Bernius of Ix, that was priced at €12.99, which is much higher than their usual price for a new faction in Northgard, that is priced at just €4.49, almost tripling the price. With the reveal of the new playable race, a patch with some gameplay changes by the name Heroes of Dune was added. It introduced heroes, made changes to combat and other game aspects, right on time after the release of Dune Part 2 movie. At the time of the recording, the last patch was released on 2nd April 2024, and the game has had a healthy spike of 34,066 active players as a result of the movie coming out, no doubt. After launching the game, you can choose between single player or multiplayer. Single player gives you the option to play a skirmish game, Canely Duel and Conquest. Skirmish is played on a single map where you can play with up to 3 AI factions. Choose one of 6 factions, or 7 if you bought the DLC, pick 2 counselors and adjust some map rules as well as victory conditions. The factions are somewhat different, but they all have the common base. Victory can be achieved in one of 5 ways, or rather 4 ways. Domination, meaning eliminate all opponents. Hegemony, reach a certain score threshold by doing various things. Political, get voted for governor of Dune and hold it for 30 days. Economic, hold half of the market shares. And finally, assassination. Use your spies to assassinate other players, which basically becomes the domination victory. Apart from skirmish, the most similar thing is the Canely duel. It's the same thing, but on a smaller 1 versus 1 map. Yes, you can play 1 versus 1 in skirmish, but the map is a bit bigger. And lastly, you have the Conquest game mode, where you choose one of 5. So no Fremen or the Smugglers faction, as it wouldn't fit with the lore. In Conquest, you have a strategic map of the northern Arrakis and try to win by conquering territories. Some territories give bonuses or change the battle style from a regular skirmish to a more scenario-like battles. It can take over 70 hours to finish a conquest map, since it's a long series of matches with minor adjustments. At the start of the match, you'll have your base inside your lot with an ornithopter. Everything else is shrouded in sand dust. A welcome change to all the too common fog of war. You'll need to explore the map, conquer new territory with your infantry, establish refineries that harvest space melange, pay taxes, make factories, vote on regulations that can change how each match is played, buy and sell market shares, research technologies, increase your reputation with the Council of the Great Houses called Northgard, and lastly, employ spies to increase support from some of the Great Houses or spy on your enemies. Water on Arrakis is an interesting resource. It is used to pay the upkeep price of some buildings for trading with the locals, and as a gauge of how long your units can be outside your territory before they start taking damage due to severe dehydration. This limits your ability to have long military campaigns outside your territory, but this too can be remedied in various ways, meaning water supply mainly stops early game blitzkriegs. Airfields are a necessity. They allow you to quickly transport your troops internally, meaning they give you the ability to respond to an invasion pretty quickly, or to hold a piece of land that is on the other side of the map. This is important because the number of deployed units that you can have at one time is kinda low. There are in total 7 different military units and costing between 3 and 10 command points, where the combined maximum is 50 command points. This makes it that you will have one group which will move wherever they are needed, and this makes the airfields invaluable. Each new piece of land will have 3 things on it: a big patch of sand, a town, and a resource. Maybe some randomly spawned loot, and that's it. Towns have random bonuses, some small increases that trigger if you build a required set of buildings. The story. Well, there is no story. The only thing resembling a story are bits and pieces while you play Conquest. The game relies on you knowing the story of Dune. Doesn't show you anything new, no different perspectives. You only have the intro when launching the game that tells you this is the planet Arrakis, fight over it for control. The art style is, well, simplistic, low poly, blocky models set on a beautiful background of milky orange dust clouds and sand dunes. The dust surrounding your outpost looks amazing. It looks thick and unwelcoming, but at the same time beautiful, and this feeling disappears very quickly, since each time your ornithopter enters a region, it removes all the dust clouds, and before you know it, it's all gone. The non-mechanical units all look the same, small and blocky. There are barely any differences between factions. factions. They are too small for the details to be seen, but at the same time, they are bigger than the buildings around them. The sense of scale gets lost. Good thing each unit has an icon above them, which leads to the UI, which was built with the motto function over form, meaning it gives you everything you need behind menus and submenus, but it doesn't have an artistic note in any part of the UI, not even between factions. Compare that to the UI style differences between Zerg, Terran and Protoss in StarCraft. The most immersive thing is the awesome soundtrack that has some character. My experience with Dune Spice Wars can't be void of my previous experiences. I played all Dune games. I've played a lot of real-time strategy games, most 4X games, and I have watched all Dune movies. And I've played Northgard and enjoyed it. This being said, I went in expecting to be immersed in the world of Dune, the sand, the spice, the politics and the lack of water, only to quickly forget that I was on Arrakis. For all intents and purposes, it could have been Mars. See how by now I didn't mention the biggest mascot of the Dune universe? The worm? Well, yes, that's because in all my time playing the game, I saw the worm eat something happen twice. The most I saw is just a warning that the worm was sighted. This ties into spice harvesting. The mandatory scene of any Dune product is a worm eating a harvester. Well, just strap an ornithopter on a harvester, set it to safe mode and you're set. You won't ever see a worm. You won't ever look at the harvester because there is no need. The threat is gone. And spice might as well be purple coal. Once you set your harvesters loose, all you ever do is move an UI slider up and down once in a while. Combined with the fact that you remove the dust clouds, that you forget about the worms, that there is no reason to think about spice. Pretty early on, the immersion is broken. Lack of story is noticeable. Since their previous game, Northgard had a campaign and a story. It wasn't anything perfect, but it was used to create momentum and to incrementally introduce mechanics to the player. This was replaced with a tutorial, and after, you are thrown in the deep end. The discovery is over with just one match, meaning after you play the game for around 1 hour, that's it, that's the whole game. Where's the rush? Why do I need to get access to all of the bells and whistles? It's a 4X game, you say? Oh, right, I forgot. How'd I forget? Well, in all 4X games I played, the pace was slower. Not the game speed, mind you, the pace. Adjusting for the scale of gameplay, and the single match lasted for at least 6 hours. Dune Spice Wars is like a 4X overdosed on speed. It plays fast like a real-time strategy game, but the build-up to get to the actual battles is much slower, which makes a match last around 2 hours. This brings us to game speed and multiplayer. Game speed in single player isn't an issue. You can speed up, pause, play how you like it. But this becomes a somewhat problem in multiplayer. The unwritten rule is that every match is played at very fast game speed, making it feel like a regular real-time strategy game, but with a ton more of actions that require your attention. This makes any real diplomacy, the use of in-game chat, limited, since you barely have any time to chat. You reduce your messages to very short commands or requests instead of having the time to talk about things, to do actual diplomacy. This is the norm for games like StarCraft, Company of Heroes, Dawn of War, but 4X games will always give you time to scheme, plot and plan. Everyone plays at the fastest game speed because they want to finish a match and load the risk of people leaving mid-match because it's too long. Real life things can come up during a match. Most upgrades are percentage increase. A very small number gives something tangible. You need to constantly do math in your head to be able to have optimal plays. The UI doesn't help with the decision process at all. If I research a technology that says +1 knowledge per completed district, I have to check how many completed districts I have, then do some simple math. Why not just put the final number in the description of the technology so I can quickly decide if it's even worth researching now? Things like that add up since you're juggling a whole empire and you're short on time. At the end, this is Dune Spice Wars, and the question is playing on beach sand enough for you to feel like Muad'Dib? Thank you for your time. I hope I've given you enough info on the game, and if I missed something, be sure to tell me about it in the comments. Also, like and subscribe, and if you're interested, I stream 3 times per week on Twitch.